The heavy bronze bookend felt cold, and then it felt wet. As I stood over the man I'd just broken in the dark, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Robert. 4 words. 6 hours until forever. He wasn't talking about a wedding. He was talking about a cage. I looked down at the coat Robert gave me for our anniversary, the one I've worn every day for a year. I just found the GPS tracker sewn into the lining. But that's not the part that stopped my heart. I found a note in my own handwriting hidden in my desk, and I have no memory of ever writing it. It says, "Don't drink the water he gives you." My parents didn't lose me to a monster. They sold me to him for a check that cleared 12 years ago. Now, the police think I'm a thief. My only friend is missing, and the clock is at 5 hours and 50 minutes. Let me take you back to where this began. Dust motes danced in the single shaft of moonlight, piercing the study. Sarah pressed her shoulder against the mahogany paneling, the wood cool and unyielding through her silk blouse. A hollow thud echoed as her fingers caught a jagged seam. With a sharp tug, the hidden compartment groaned open, exhaling a scent of cedar and stagnant air. Inside lay a black book, its leather cover cracked like parched earth. Sarah pulled it free. Her thumb brushed the spine, catching on a loose thread. She fumbled with the clasp, her pulse drumming against her collarbone. The pages fluttered. Rows of handwritten dates and names blurred into a labyrinth of alphanumeric strings. No clear transactions, no obvious bribes. Instead, the ink bled into a cryptic shorthand. Her breath hitched as her eyes adjusted to the cramped, meticulous script. The structural integrity of her reality began to splinter. This wasn't just a financial record, it was a blueprint. Her name appeared on every third page, spanning back 20 years. A scholarship to the precise university Robert had recommended. A job offer from the very firm Robert held shares in. Even the apartment she lived in, the one she thought she'd found through a lucky Craigslist post, was listed here as an acquired asset for Subject A. Sarah is reading. She whispered into the small digital recorder gripped in her left hand. Sarah is discovering the script. The sound of her own voice, mechanical and detached, was the only thing keeping the walls from closing in. She realized with a sickening jolt that she wasn't a protege or a partner. She was a project. Robert Sterling hadn't mentored her. He had authored her. Every spontaneous success, every chance meeting with an influential mentor, had been a line of code written into this ledger years before she ever lived it. The air in the room grew heavy, smelling of old paper and the sharp, metallic tang of her own fear. The weight of the discovery pressed against her chest, making every breath a shallow struggle. She couldn't just leave the book. She needed the digital trail to prove the manipulation. Sarah moved to the massive oak desk, the floorboards beneath the Persian rug creaking like a warning. She pulled a silver flash drive from her pocket, the cold metal biting into her palm, and shoved it into the slot of Robert's computer. The machine hummed to life, a low electronic purr that sounded like a predator waking up. "Sarah is starting the transfer," she murmured. A progress bar crawled across the screen, a thin blue line of hope. 10%, 20%. Outside, the Boston wind rattled the heavy glass panes, mocking her silence. Her eyes darted to the door. She knew the estate's security detail moved with the precision of a clockwork mechanism. They would be in the West Wing now, checking the gallery. She had 4 minutes, maybe 5. Suddenly, a sharp chirp erupted from her pocket. The vibration against her thigh felt like an electric shock. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers slick with sweat. A message from Mark Davis flashed on the screen. Alarm tripped. The silent one. Get out now. Sarah's heart hammered a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She hadn't felt a tripwire, hadn't heard a chime, but Robert's house was a masterpiece of hidden traps. The progress bar sat at 88%. The blue light of the monitor cast a ghostly, flickering glow over her face. "Sarah is waiting," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Sarah is staying until it's done." The drive gave a final, triumphant blink. She snatched the plastic stick from the port just as the heavy thud of boots echoed from the hallway. The door didn't just open. It exploded inward. A man in a dark tactical vest filled the frame, his silhouette sharp against the dim light of the corridor. He didn't shout. He didn't ask questions. He lunged. Sarah scrambled back, her hip catching the edge of the desk with a bone-deep ache. The guard's hand clamped onto her shoulder, his fingers like iron bands. "Sarah is resisting," she gasped, the recorder still clutched in her hand. She swung her arm in a wide, desperate arc. Her fingers closed around a heavy bronze bookend, a stylized owl that Robert used to hold his first editions. She felt the weight of the metal, the cold, textured feathers against her skin. With a grunt of effort, she brought the bronze bird down. It connected with the guard's temple with a sickening, wet thud. The man's grip slackened. He swayed for a second, his eyes rolling back, before he collapsed onto the rug like a felled tree. The silence that followed was louder than the struggle. Sarah stood over him, her chest heaving, the smell of scorched dust and the guard's cheap aftershave filling her senses. She didn't look back. She shoved the ledger into her bag, gripped the flash drive, and bolted for the French doors leading to the gardens.